Hello, this is Amy, and I'm reviewing the Spaces section by Margaret Price. This is from Multimodality in Motion, Disability in Kairotic Spaces, originally authored by Yurgo, Bruin, Kirschbaum, Aswell, Price, Salvo, and House, although my section is exclusively written by Margaret Price. Price opens her article talking about the difference between retrofitting and accessible design. There's a definition for you on retrofitting from J. Dolmaj, but the main difference is that retrofitting occurs after the fact. So if I make a video not thinking about accessibility, and then one of my students lets me know that she doesn't have speakers at home, so then I provide a transcript, what I've done is I've retrofit my video. I've put a Band-Aid on it. And the issue with retrofitting, according to Price, is that it labels disabled people as an afterthought. It's something that we do after we create a text. Instead, she wants us to think about accessible design, or consider accessibility as we are designing these texts. Price offers us a few questions that better articulates what she means when she talks about accessible design. So first, this idea that text should be presented with a variety of modes, and that those modes should create equal opportunities for access. That we should have flexible and participatory designs, that we're trying to engage all audience members, and that we change the mentality from designing texts for a certain subpopulation, like the deaf population, to designing accessible texts for all. And that goes back to this idea that there are not abled and disabled people, but rather we are all temporarily abled. And at some point in our lives, we will need to draw on these accessible resources. After talking about the space of textual design, Price moves on to this notion of kairotic spaces. Kairotic spaces, according to Price, possess one of these qualities. They're real time, they involve impromptu communication, they demand participants are present or telepresent, they have a strong social element, and they're high stakes. These kairotic spaces are less likely to be critically thought about with regards to accessibility. And we don't often realize these spaces are ideological, they're where power shifting occurs, and they rely on presence. An example that she offers is the job market. When TAs go on the job market, they have to engage in Skype interviews, phone conferences, they attend MLA interviews, they go on campus visits. And we don't consider how that process is discriminatory. How if you are homebound, or if you have issues in mobility or in processing, you have a much harder time with delivering a successful experience in that space. So finally, she offers several alternatives and solutions. The first is that we need to be changing the infrastructures that affect our practices. It's not enough for us just to validate various forms of participation and work to act better as a field. Rather, we need to work to change the system. Second, we need a system of design that considers access from the beginning and realizes that access is a problem shared by every member of our field, not just those with disabilities. We need to value participatory culture, and that means the participation of every member of our audience. And then finally, we need to move away from retrofitting, and we need to understand the harm that retrofitting does. A different part of the article will go on to create this term resonant design, which is design that's responsive, user-centered, stakeholder involving, context sensitive. And that's what Price really wants us to hold on to as a field.